Welcome to the Lenze Webcast from Trend to Reality. My name is Anna Brunzel, and today we will talk about a modern machine visualization and discuss a concrete customer project. I'm very excited to welcome my guest today. This is Henry Meyer. He is working for the OEM Brink, our customer in that webcast, and he's working for the automation department and is responsible for the whole automation department within Brink, and that's from design of machines to commissioning. So I'm sure we will learn a lot from him. Then we have Julia Jürgens. If you're looking for a real HMI design enthusiast, you've found one. She works on how to improve usability and experience of HMI and how to integrate it into Lenze tools. And we have Jannis Pille here. Jannis is the project leader of the Fast UI Runtime and Easy UI designer. And he is excited to be involved in strategical topics that push our automation platform. So welcome, guys. Jannis here in the studio and Henry and Julia remotely. It's great to have you. So, Henry, you at Brink, you have redesigned one of your machines, which we see here in the film and which we saw already in the intro. And this is one of your injection molds machines. And you have redesigned it completely when it comes to the automation concept as well as the visualization concept. And that's what we will discuss today. So, Henry, when you started to think, okay, we need a new visualization concept for this machine, it's a versatile IML, what was your starting point back then?
Yeah, good question. So the starting point is already more or less 2 years ago. Around that time, we're thinking about we have our existent conversion visualization and control platform. So what can be better? What can be lead to more output, to better user experience, to that the people that work at the machine that have a better feeling with this. And one big important part is the visualization. And therefore, we begin this year the first discussions with a design agency that we asked to help us to make a design how the visualization have to look like. So in the first place, what is the need for the visualization? So we together with them, we select a group of people, users from all different settings. So from servers to engineering, and together we make cases where the visualization, what the visualization need to have. So this we working this year on, and yeah, now we have already a good plan how this looks like, and we have also already a prototype where we at this moment working to realize this in a real visualization.
Excellent teaser. We will have a look on the prototype in a moment. But let me first ask you, how did you cooperate here with Lenze? How did you use the Easy UI designer?
Yeah, together we started contact with the design agency. We also contact Lenze because that's our supplier for the control system, and we asked them what is the possibilities to make a new more visualization for these days. And they come with the UI designer platform, and that make us the opportunity to make a web-based visualization and to create all controls that we needed and what we designed. So for us, this is a good tool, and also with the new C500 controller, we can make a version 2 machine of the control system. So that's the answer from Lenze, and that's also where we're working on now.
Okay. I just would like to mention one thing. If you have any questions to our experts today, you can use the chat function. So we have at the end some dedicated time and can answer live some of your questions. So feel free to use the chat function. Janus, obviously projects and customers are very different, and there are different ways to approach such a project. So what kind of possibilities are there to cooperate with Lenze and to use a tool like with Easy UI Designer?
Yeah, Henry mentioned they have created their own library for controls and visualization elements. That's because Brink has some special or some certain skills to do that. They have web development skills to create such a library, but you don't need those experts, those skills to work with the Easy UI Designer. That's one way. The other way would be that you cooperate with Lenze, and we create such a control toolbox for you if you have special needs for your project. But the standard functionality of the Easy UI Designer is already set to realize project without any needed skill for web development. Yeah, and Brink chose the one way.
Yeah, shall we have a look on the PowerPoint you've prepared on the slide?
For sure.
Because I think that you can explore it a little bit easier.
Yeah, what you can see here is one aspect we already talked about. You have the Easy UI Designer as the engineering software, the engineering tool to create web visualizations. The other very important aspect is our new controller platform, C500, on which we have the fast UI runtime license, as we call it. This is the runtime where the visualization server is set, the runtime server is set, the web server is set, and therefore you have a whole software solution for creating web visualizations. Additionally, if you would like to have one, we have a new web panel in our portfolio. That's the V450 web panel. It's a Chromium-based browser panel, and yeah, you connect this panel with the controller via Ethernet, and then you have the rendering of the visualization on the panel and the whole server components on the controller. Necessary is the controller with the runtime license and the Easy UI Designer, but you're independent in choosing the hardware to show the visualization, so the panel.
Mm-hmm. So, and if a customer would ask you, okay, Janus, why should I use this web-based tool from Lenze? What would be your answer?
Yeah, the first aspect would be what we already said. It's flexible. Mm-hmm. You can use it in different ways by using the standard controls. You can use it by creating your own library. You can use it by creating a controls library, which is customer specific, together with Lenze experts. The other thing is, I already hinted it, it's kind of future-proof because you're quite independent from the used panel hardware. For example, if you now have a screen size of 10-inch and you choose to have 15-inch panels in the future, you can change your panel hardware without you changing the project itself. And the other thing would be if you use the Lenze templates and controls, you already have foundation to create really a user-centric visualization. That means that Yuya, we will get to that a little bit later. She is part of our development team, and she has a good knowledge about creating real usable tools or usable interfaces that are minimized, that are reduced to the most relevant points, so that you can create really a usable visualization.
Yeah, and you just mentioned that it's possible to use the Easy UI Designer to create a visualization even without any programming knowledge. And Julia, this kind of sounds too good to be true. I think our listeners will be very excited to see how this can work. So could you show it to us?
Of course, I can. So when you've created your visualization project with our tool, with our configuration tool, there are already a lot of templates available. Janus already mentioned that we tried to integrate the knowledge that we have here at Lenze inside the tool and also inside the templates, so you can easily customize them. What you see here is the layout that you chose during the visualization project configuration. and it shows a responsive layout, which means that it will automatically adapt itself to the device at hand. So for example, when you have a smartphone and you don't have that much space for the menu here on the left, then it will collapse. And if you have enough space, then it will be shown. And the logic is already integrated inside that template. You don't need to worry about programming any JavaScript, any HTML or CSS knowledge. So the only thing you need to worry about is which options you would like to show in the menu here. And then, of course, which content you would like to show of your machine. This is going to be inserted here in this gray area. That is a placeholder for all the pages. So for example, you have a machine page where you want to show a few performance indicators, for example, but there are also other possibilities. And as you see here, we used a card layout that would also adapt itself automatically to the device. So the cards would just go under each other when they don't have enough space, and besides each other when there is enough width. There is a toolbar here, and these are all native HTML control elements. And when you want to use them, you just click on them, you insert them in here, and you see there is no HTML knowledge necessary. You can configure everything here in the property grid. Also styling options like colors, for example, so no CSS knowledge necessary either. And if you're not familiar with JavaScript, which is the programming language behind it, because we have all the functions that you need in here, you can just select them and bind them to a control by clicking on it, and then you can configure what the behavior is supposed to be like. So you see there's a what you see is what you get editor. This is exactly how it's going to be shown inside the browser. And as you just saw, I didn't program anything here.
Yeah, okay, thanks a lot. So if a machine builder is saying now, hey, I would like to try it out, how this works, how should he approach to us, to you? Is it possible to try it out in a way?
Yeah, for sure. You can get in contact with Julia or either me or your sales region. And if you have some interesting projects going on at your company, get in contact with us. We'll set up the help to give the easy UI designer and the needed knowledge to you, and then create really good projects, visualization projects, as we did together with Brink.
Yeah, excellent. Together with Brink, this is the right thing to say now. Henry, I'm really curious now. Oh, I just hear we have a technical issue. Henry is offline. Now I really wanted to hear the old versus the new visualization. He promised me to show it to us, because I think this is really impressive what happens there. Let us just see a moment if we are getting him back. Okay, in the meanwhile, Julia, you are the right person to talk to. If somebody would say, yeah, visualization, this is a nice thing to talk about, and is it really only about aesthetics here? What would be your answer?
No, it's not, because even Steve Jobs, whom you all know, already mentioned that design is not only how it looks like, design is how it works. And that is exactly the approach that I have. There is so much more to an interface than just the look and feel. It's how you can use it, which options you have, even if the interface represents what you see, so that you can easily understand what's happening on the interface. And if that matches between the real world and the system, then it's a lot more intuitive to handle. So that, of course, leads to less downtime, because if you can react better and understand what's happening better and more intuitive, then, of course, that's a lot more than just a green or a blue button.
Mm-hmm. So, Henry, would you like to show us the new concept you have created and show the difference between the old and the new one?
Yes, for sure. I will do that. Just a moment. This is the existent visualization what we already use for years, and that's more conventional. And this visualization is more based on every unit of the machine. So every unit have its own special. And here you see the screens of every separate unit. So we name it also the servo axis, and the servo axis controls a unit, and every unit have a special positionings, a special positioning, manual control, positioning, and settings. But there's also a cooperation between M-axis and X-I-axis, so then you have to switch between units. Then we have also some I/O page. So for every I/O we have some pages, and we have also alarming. So then we see from the whole machine all alarms, and so all segments are separately in the control system. And that's some ideas to put it together for the new visualization, and that I can go now. New visualization is it looks different. So we make 3 big tabs: so alarming, process, and presentation. The process is complete different than how it was before. So there it was unit and access based, and now it's more process based. So we take one process of the system, and we put here an overview of all processes, and then you already see with the red and the green dots and the green line some indication what it is, or alarm, or functioning, or active, and you directly can go deeper in the visualization. So okay, I want to put this process opened, and then you see directly the sequence of this process. So step by step, it will visualize every action. So less text, more pictures. That's you do not need to explain something. It's more visible. So this is then the sequence, and do you need to change something on the sequence or to do some diagnostics? You can every step of this sequence you can open and do some diagnostics. You see the alarms of this status. We see the manual control and all other information. So you can really go deeper in, and it's an easier navigation. So that's one part to make it more understandable for the people that work with the system.
I really like that example because it clearly shows what I was just talking about, that first you had a more technical view on the machine, like access-oriented view, and now you go from another point of view, like the point of view that, for example, a machine operator would have, because he focuses more on the processes and not only on the configuration of the different axes, but he wants to get these processes done, and to actually reflect that in the interface makes it a lot better understandable and a lot better to handle. So yeah, the usability principle behind that is actually called a match between system and real world, because that's how a machine operator would actually perceive what happens. And yes, I always refer to these design principles. If you're interested in them, there are a few that were defined by Jacob Nielsen and that can be read online. And but we're also currently writing on a white paper where I would summarize all these principles in the machine visualization domain. So that might be interesting as well. But go ahead, Henry. I didn't want to stop you.
No problem. The next step, what we changed is the alarming. So normal it was just alarm lines, small text for the explanation, and that's all. So now we have also a list with alarms and also with the timing, but you can also make it bigger and you get some more information. So what is the public cause? What we can do to solve this? And but most of the time you need some diagnostics for a sensor or a temperature or something else, and that's not visible in the alarm. So therefore we have a button of each alarm, and that's called locate problem. It's not functioning in the prototype, but in the real version it will work. So then you can push this button, locate problem, and it goes directly to the right step of the process, and then you can really visible see what's going on. You can do some diagnostics, you can do some tests, or it's really work or not work. So this gives the operator or the worker on the machine a much better understanding about the alarm, and also a faster way to locate the position. Otherwise, if you have plenty of alarms, it's hard to find the real location in the machine.
Yeah, and the principle behind that, I mean, you followed a few really good design principles here, because the first one that I see is called visibility of system status. You see immediately that there is a problem. And the other, even more important principle is called help users understand, diagnose, and recover from errors. So that is clearly visible here, because you can see where the error is, and you can actually recover from it, because you give them the option to locate it, and you give a possible cause, so that the operator can actually do the right thing to recover from the error quickly, and of course start producing then again very quickly.
So this will save downtime. Another way to increase output is that have a better understanding of the process, and then we see in the output themselves. So the next step that we make, and the last step of the big visualizations we made, is to get a better view of how the machine is running. So here, for example, we see the overall, and we see also the 8 cavities. And there you can see for each cavity, okay, how much good products, how much bad products, and then you can see, okay, this cavity is worse than another one, and you can more dig in what to do to increase the good products. In this way, we use the same system than the alarm. So this is quite low information. If you want more information, you can also open it, and you can see a little bit more really values and really percentage. So this is just for the production counters, but we have this also for react counters. So here we see for each cavity and also the overall the reason why it's reacted. So there are different reasons, and you can also open it again and see more detailed what is the real cause of the react. So this tells about production and react. About timing is also a big point in our business. So the machine needs to be on cycle time. And here you can see the latest cycle time, and here you can see if it's longer time or shorter time. So that should be stable. If it's not stable, it's you can see why. So now it's not working in this prototyping, but the idea is to open this too, and do you see for every separate process to see the timing, and which timing is longer than the goal cyclist time. So that's also about cycle times. And then we have also activities, and here we have some other more diagnostics, and that's more going to a dashboard system. But here you can see, for example, in a certain time, how much times the system is start and stopped, how much running time, how much ready time we have, and how much off time we have. You can think about also error times or special error times. So this gives you a better view about the presentation of the machine, but it's already more in line of the dashboard system, what we see different than the real operator panel on the machine side.
That's really interesting as well, because I clearly see the principle of minimalistic and aesthetic design. I mean, we all see that's a very aesthetic prototype. It's a very aesthetic machine visualization, but also the part about minimalism is very important, because human beings cannot perceive a lot of information at once. So it might overwhelm them. It might actually make it harder to recover from errors, or to actually find the thing that they need to do at the moment when there's too much information at once. So when you make it possible to drill down and, for example, click on the error and expand it and to get more information, then this is a lot better for the user, because he or she can decide in the context if he needs more information or not, and otherwise it will not overwhelm him, all the information that could be shown. So that's also done very well. I'm impressed.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, too.
Yeah,
I think our audience too. We have already some questions which I would love to raise. So I think this is to Henry, I suppose. Did you do the design based on wireframes?
Yeah, that's true. So the design agency used wireframes to get what we have now. Yeah.
Okay. Let me choose another question. I think that's to Henry too. What would you do differently in the next developing process?
Good question. We're still in the developing process. Not really different, but the main thing what we learned from it, please do prepare it well. So not start with programming before you have a plan. So first make it visible and to get everything. So first you need to have your needs for the visualization, and for every process, for every market, it can be different. But for us, this looks the best fit solution.
Yeah, we have some more questions in the chat, and unfortunately we are coming to the end of the webcast, but you can remain in the chat. Our experts, Julia, Jannis, and Henry, will be available there and answer all your questions. You can approach to them even directly afterwards if you like. So you see here the contact details. Just feel free. They're happy to discuss with you the current projects and all your questions. So thanks a lot, guys, for being here in the webcast. Thanks, Jannis. Thanks, Henry, being our guest today. And Julia, thanks for your input too. I hope you guys did enjoy it too. So,
really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. So I hope you took some insights from this webcast here. What I learned is that modern visualization is a lot more than only aesthetic, but really gives a value when it comes to downtime, for instance. And depending on your resources, there are different ways to create it. And just like our customer Brink, I wish you a lot of success in creating your modern visualization.
Thank you.
If you're interested in further webcasts, then you can just check out our YouTube channel. Yeah, thanks a lot, and have a good day. Bye-bye.